Hey everyone, Ranger William here from the Overmountain Victory National Historic Trail, bringing you another part of the Partisans United, Patriot leaders and the pursuit of Patrick Ferguson. So what we're doing with this series is taking a more biographical look at the background of the different militia colonels and majors, some of the leaders who were involved in the Overmountain Victory Trail and the Kings Mountain Campaign, and what abilities, what experiences were they bringing with them to the battlefield on October 7th, 1780, but also what did they do later in the war and later on in American history. In our first episode, we talked, or our introduction, we talked a little bit about the where the trail is today, the Overmountain Victory Trail, how it kind of crosses four different states, the many different jurisdictions these guys were coming from, all the different officers that were involved. Part one, we talked about Isaac Shelby. We've been following it up with some of the other guys, John Sevier, William Campbell, the McDowell brothers, and Benjamin Cleveland. Now, with this episode, we're going to be looking at James Williams. So James Williams is going to be a very interesting character. Notably because he is actually mortally wounded at the Battle of Kings Mountain. So you're not going to be able to see what he does after the war or see have his writings after the war to get his version of the story. So it's a very interesting guy. Let's jump into it here. You're looking at him being 39 years old at the time of the battle. Again, maybe a little bit younger than you would expect for a man of his rank and his leadership. Born November 7th, 1740 in Hanover County, Virginia. His father, Daniel Williams, and his mother, Ursula Clark Henderson. Now, he's actually going to be one of 8 kids. And a bit of kind of a rough start for him. At 1757, he is going to be orphaned. Both his parents pass away, and he's going to move with his brother John down to Granville County, North Carolina. He's going to get a basic education, but he is going to kind of strike out on his own. In 1762, he's going to marry a woman that he meets named Mary Wallace. And it's kind of a blank spot, but sometime by 1773, he has become very established in Western South Carolina. He's going to have a family by then. He's going to actually have a large farm, a lot of land holding. He's going to have a mill that he's operating there in the 96th district. Now, unlike some of our other guys where they kind of have a military commission first and then later they get into politics, James is going to start with politics. In 1775, he's going to join the Committee of Safety in South Carolina, kind of the early proto-government for the Revolution, and he's going to be part of the South Carolina Provincial Congress. So again, one of these very early efforts of self-governance. 1776, he's going to be made the lieutenant colonel of the Little River Regiment. So that's out there in the kind of far western parts of South Carolina. And most of that time, he's going to be leading patrols. His guys are going to be kind of guarding that region, both from the British allied Cherokee Nation to the west, but also from the many loyalists that live right there in their home settlement. So a lot of patrols for many different reasons. He's going to get a promotion that September, made the full colonel of the Little River Regiment, and he's going to lead these guys through all kinds of big campaigns. 1779, you're going to see him have service at Briar Creek, Savannah, and Stono Ferry. These are 3 major times when you have, 1778 and 79. But you're going to see him leading his troops down into Georgia, trying to stop the British Army from coming up from East Florida, coming up and just steamrolling through Georgia into South Carolina, trying to contest any place they can. So you have Briar Creek, you have the Siege of Savannah in 1779. That is going to be this American-French joint expedition trying to recapture the city from the British. Goes horribly, does not go well. You do see him serving, like I said, Stono Ferry, stopping one of those early British attempts to push up through the Low Country and take Charleston. And he is serving with the garrison in Charleston in the spring of 1780, but his guys get out before the city falls on May 12th. Now, in 1780, this is when you see the real kind of partisan war again. You've seen the capture of the Southern Continental Army at Charleston. You have the replacement army under Gates comes down, destroyed at Camden. So it's really up to these local militia leaders, up to these local community leaders to keep the fight going against the British. And he does his part. James Williams' guys, He's going to be at skirmishes all across kind of central western South Carolina, Cedar Springs, Rocky Mount, Hanging Rock, usually serving with Thomas Sumter. The story goes that James Williams comes into Sumter's camp. He offers his service in whatever capacity Sumter can use him, and he makes him a quartermaster. Gives him some wagons, some horses, some men. Says, "Keep me supplied, keep my guys fed." Now, some of these battles they do not go so well for Thomas Sumter. And it's possibly due to this that you see James Williams desert. He takes these men, he takes these supplies, these wagons that have been given to him by Thomas Sumter, and he leaves. He crosses the Catawba River, the Broad River. He goes west into his home district to take up the war there. That's going to be sometime in July or August of 1780. They have this feud. Um, and it's actually really interesting. This is where you get him kind of clash with another future Overmountain leader, Edward Lacy. Edward Lacy, one of Thomas Sumter's right-hand guys. He's going to be leading some men at the Battle of Kings Mountain. But Edward Lacy is sent to track down James Williams and bring him back. The story goes that Lacy confronts Williams he finds him in the camp, gets him alone, pulls a pistol on him, and demands Williams' promise that he will return. And then Williams gives his word, Lacy leaves, and Williams doesn't return. Now, this is all according to Edward Lacy's biographers after the war. Like I mentioned, with James Williams dying the day after Kings Mountain, we're not left with his version of the events. So you got to take that with a bit of a grain of salt. But definitely some bad blood, some feuding, some animosity between Williams and Thomas Sumter, between Williams and Thomas Sumter's lieutenants, like Edward Lacy and William Hill. Now, James Williams, he is going to be involved with the Patriot victory at Musgrove's Mill. When he gets out there in the West, he joins up with Charles McDowell, Elijah Clark, Isaac Shelby's guys, and he takes part in the Patriot victory there at Musgrove's Mill. And he is selected to take the news of this victory to the exiled government. The South Carolina government has had to flee the state, flee British occupation. They're up in North Carolina. Williams goes and brings them the story of this great victory that they've won. Now, this is where you get, again, a little bit of, depends who you want to listen to, potential stories. When Williams delivers this news, there is the possibility that he embellishes his own role just a little bit. Maybe he doesn't really include the names of the other officers who were involved because he walks away from this meeting with a promotion to brigadier general. So don't know if this was because did he embellish it? Did South Carolina government just thought he deserved it? Again, we don't have Williams' side of the story. But with this promotion, he is then given kind of permission by North Carolina's governor to raise 100 men, to raise these guys in North Carolina, even though he's a South Carolina officer, as long as they're not already serving with another unit. So you see Williams kind of hobble this group together, about 75 men. They're going to be refugees from South Carolina, North Carolinians that weren't already in service, some Georgia refugees. He's going to form these guys kind of around the Salisbury, North Carolina area. According to some historians, he does this by offering plunder. He does this by saying, hey, you want to capture horses? You want to take livestock? Even do you want to take enslaved people from loyalist plantations? Join up with me and you can have all this kind of loot. So not the most morals there. And again, we don't get Williams' side of the story, but he gets 75 guys to join this command. He goes off trying to join up with the Thomas Sumter's militia, saying, hey, here's my commission. Here's the permission I have. I'm in charge here. And this is when you have Thomas Sumter get very upset about this. He does not like James Williams. He does not think he should have this commission over Thomas Sumter. So Sumter goes off to dispute this with the government, with some of his key officers. This is why Thomas Sumter is not there and able to fight at the Battle of Kings Mountain. This is why Thomas Sumter, his men are being led by Edward Lacy and William Hill, is because Thomas Sumter has gone off to dispute Williams's commission. So you see Williams is going to be at Kings Mountain. He is going to be mortally wounded at the end of the battle there. He's going to pass away the next day at 39 years old, October 8th, 1780. He was buried on the banks of the Broad River. Later, he's reinterred in what's now Gaffney, South Carolina. The picture that you have here is of his memorial. Nice granite marker, some iron cannon barrels there, and a little plaque talking about James Williams. So James Williams, we don't know a lot about some of the gaps in his early life, but we know that he dies in battle at Kings Mountain. We don't know what he would have done afterwards. Who knows what his version of all these controversies would have been like if he had had a say. So one of the more controversial figures, but it's still a very important leader. One of the important figures to kind of get these guys gathered up and bring his knowledge of the area, bring his knowledge of some of the local people to the Battle of Kings Mountain. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, learning a little bit more about James Williams. I hope you enjoy the other episodes as well, learn about some of the other partisan leaders who united together and made possible this Patriot victory. So thanks for watching.